The Garfield movie just came out, and in a COVID-induced fever, hopped up on about 6 Dayquil, I decided to watch it, and I want to tell you guys what I thought about it. So far, the movie has already hit its stride. It has broken 90 million at the box office, which is 30 million over its budget. That is pretty good, right? That's actually insanely good. Now, the number one contention with this movie is the fact that they spent most of the budget to hire voice actors who aren't voice actors, they're regular actors. Now, a lot of people are mad because they hired Andy Samberg to voice Garfield. The problem I have is that Matt Damon actually does a really good job at voicing Garfield. Anybody who says otherwise is just trying to be a hater. I guess the real problem comes with the fact that they spent so much getting all these high-profile actors that they probably could have just spent more on making the story better, right? The story's not great in this movie. It's honestly all over the place, and it really doesn't ever feel like it has a good resolution. I mean, Snoop Dogg is in this fucking thing for like 10 seconds. How much do you think they paid him for that? I can guarantee you he either did it for free or they paid him an insane amount. Another complaint that I have heard about the movie is that it doesn't feel like Garfield. Now, I feel like this is just something that people are saying because they feel like it's the thing that they should say. Whereas people who do say it, I think you should refamiliarize yourself with modern Garfield, because modern Garfield is pretty much what this movie is. Most of the jokes in modern Garfield are not there to make you laugh from your stomach. They're there to make you shoot air through your nose really quickly and smile a little bit. The writing in Garfield has never been spectacular. It's kind of always been a physical comic. And I feel like people who are saying this doesn't feel like Garfield just don't know Garfield. I feel like they must be ironic fans of Garfield who just really like I'm Sorry, John. So there is a lot of physical comedy in this movie, and it's great. My God, there's so much slapstick humor. I love it. And I was actually laughing pretty hard at it. And to go back to the laughing that can be induced from modern Garfield, this is better than any comic that has been released in the last couple years. The jokes are actually really good. I was laughing out loud quite a few times throughout this movie. Another thing that happens in the Garfield comics is that Garfield breaks the fourth wall a lot, and that's how this movie actually begins. And I didn't like that very much. I feel like they kind of shot their wad a little early right at the beginning with the baby Garfield scene. Although I do feel like it evened out throughout the course of the movie. I mean, can we talk about how great Baby Garfield is? And same with Baby Odie. I mean, that's the greatest addition to the Garfield canon this movie has to offer. The animation is seriously top tier, and so is the art direction and character design. They hit a really good hybrid of that modern design that every animation has these days, with like the recognizable Jim Davis style of those big egg-shaped eyes and stuff like that. The sound design and the sound effects are amazing. There's a little scene right here. I'll play it for you. Huh? You hear that little noise that Garfield made when he popped out of the lasagna container? It was fucking amazing. It feels like a cartoon. A lot of CGI can kind of skip that beat. This has a lot of modulation in the character designs, a lot of modulation in the way that the characters move, and the way that colors are presented, and it feels like a cartoon. Okay, and going back to it, Steve Buscemi did a great job being Garfield. The writing helps, but he does surprisingly well at the typical Garfield bipolarism of switching from being happy to sarcastic and cranky. The milk heist planning scene with Otto was particularly funny. That had me laughing really hard, especially the running roadkill gag. And then when it switched to the 2D animation of the roadkill doing stuff, it was fucking great. Also, the story arc between Vic and Garfield was very heartwarming. There were some really good, kind of tear-jerky parts. I didn't cry because I'm a big, muscly man, but yeah, I got there. I got a little frog in my throat while watching this movie. This movie doesn't provide any fan service to the ironic Garfield fans out there. There's no, cosmic horror or anything like that. This is a very down-to-earth, true-to-the-source material Garfield movie. And I actually like it for that. There's a weird Walmart and FedEx product placement right at the end. I'm like, why? Like, who needs to be reminded that those two companies exist? You don't even, get a choice. They just exist outside of us. They don't exist because of us. They don't need to be advertised in a Garfield movie. Okay, I agree with everybody. It needed more Liz and Nermal. I think that that'll be sequel territory, and they are definitely going to push a sequel because, the movie was a huge success. People liked it. It made a ton of money. There's a comic right at the end after the credits teasing a sequel, which is a throwback to the 2004 Garfield CGI movies that also had a real Garfield comic at the end after the credits. Love it. I want to see more of that, and if the sequel comes, if they did a retelling of the Halloween story, that would be awesome. I would totally take that. Or maybe if they start doing cartoons in this style, that would be awesome. I don't know how you'd be able to afford paying Mads Mikkelsen to voice Garfield for every episode, but I'm sure they could figure something out. Maybe they could hire Chris Pratt to do it instead. I think he's cheaper. I remember when the trailer came out a couple months ago, and the trailer looked amazing. The trailer held a lot of promise, and I feel like the movie held up to the standard of Garfield. I feel like it held up to the standard of modern animation and modern comedy. After all those points, what do I actually think about the movie? It was okay.